and the man was being taken, the son was being taken to be buried. And Jesus, he did not go and do any libation or do anything anyway. He saw the woman, and he saw, as the woman was weeping, he felt compassion for the woman, and he told her, okay, stop crying. And he went to the child and said, rise up. So the person that was being, the dead body that was going to be buried became alive, and he became a person yet again. And that is, I don't think we will hesitate to call that a mega miracle. And it shows you the power that resides in Jesus as God. And to further buttress this, I will take the life story we have here. And this was a story from one of the leaders of a church in The Hague. This story, this one is a story I'm telling you, not that someone told me. I was actually in the church when the man told this story. It was one of those times I was out of the country. I was just looking for where to worship. And when I went to that church to worship, and it was one of the leaders and he after his preaching, I think it was part of his preaching, so he was now trying to talk about his personal experience. And he was reminding everybody in his church, at least you all knew when I had accident, you knew what I went through. So, but let me quickly read through the story. He said, I had been involved in a motor accident several years back. And while God saved me from death, I was always in perpetual pain. I required crutches to move around and was on permanent pain medications. With several months of recuperation and medical treatment, I eventually walked without the crutches, but the pain remained. The doctors advised that this was the best I can get. I did not let this stop my work for God and remained steadfast in leading and participating in church programs. I still played my guitar and joined in the praise and worship to continue to work to spread the gospel till the second coming. One day, I preached about God's healing power and his desire to restore us completely. When I went home that evening, I challenged myself to practice what I preached. I went into prayer and asked God for full restoration. I got a sense of inner peace with a profound sense that I was healed. However, out of caution, and maybe weak faith, I continued to take my daily pain medications. Some weeks later, in my quiet time with God, I had a revelation asking me, why are you praying for what you have already been given? I stopped taking the medications that night, and it's over a year now, and I feel no pain. So this is a man of God. He was involved in a bad accident. God saved him that he did not die, but he now had a lot of medical problems arising from it. And he was managing it and continuing his ministry as much as he could. And of course, he preaches about God and what God can do for us, and he's talking to, and he was one of the leaders in their band, the church band. He plays the guitar and all that. You will think that with all his faith and knowledge of God, he should have gotten everything and he should have understood. But you know the truth of our life, somebody who is facing physical suffering and pain, sometimes it's also difficult to appreciate the power of God. And then also with human beings around you, like the doctors who told him this is the best he can get. Yeah, he's gotten to the point he stopped needing crutches, but he said the pain was so he could not live without taking pain medications. Because if not, the pain can be something else. And then later, one day he realized, but I'm the one preaching to people that turn to God. In your troubles, turn to God. And yet me, I'm here, I'm not even practicing what I preach. And he prayed. And yet again, despite the fact that he said he had that inner sense of peace that God had answered his prayer, but he still didn't have the courage. Because I remember how the man said it. It was like, he said it more like, that he's not going to lie, yo. He's not going to lie. After the prayer, he still continued his this. That in a way, he's ashamed that he did it, but that was what happened. He still continued taking his drugs. Till he got the second revelation. Why are you praying for what I have given you already? And that's when he stopped taking the drugs. And at that time, he was telling us, this was the time he told us that story. This thing is something that happened like a year ago. And he was telling us that since that time, he has felt no pain. He's completely whole. And so that's the power of God's healing. As shows you what God can do for us. No matter the tribulation, no matter the challenge. So I'll now go into the discussion. And the first one is going to be, even though there is a verse there, but the whole concept is, let's throwing it as an open discussion. Let's hear our thoughts. That verse will only just help us, guide us, and set the scene. So it says, restoration can be said to be returning something to its former condition. But like I would love to hear from anybody.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. All your surrounds you with love and compassion. Restoration can be said to be returning something to its former condition. I want to start by saying that restoration, when we say about restoration of life, it shows that the life was lost. Because before you can restore something, something is missing. I think the best way we can understand it is about a trader that has, maybe you are selling batteries. At a time, you are running short of battery or the battery has finished. You restore. You restore. So when we say about restoration of life, it means that the life was gone and it have to be brought back. And the miracle that Jesus Christ did is a good example. And also I want to see that as also a shadow of the reality